Hi guys, D900Man here from migratiphone.com. Hope you're all ever so well. We're going to be giving you some commentary on the Apple iPad 3 event today. Now, just to give you a few things, first of all, there is not going to be any live stream for this event, so you're not going to be able to see the event. I will be talking you through what is happening, so it'd be really nice if you stayed with me, and we should be able to tell you what is going on. So I hope you stay with us, and we'll give you all the latest information as soon as it hits. Okay guys, so if you want to start hitting that like button down below, that would be really helpful to us, and then we will know how many people are in the room and what kind of stats that we're getting this on there. So remember that you can share this using those links below as well, so that's going to be really helpful for us as well. Okay guys, so also there is a chat box right next to me, and so feel free to ask any questions at all. I'll try and answer you through. Just remember that we will not be live streaming anything. So some of the things that we will be talking about is hopefully that iPad 3 release. What are we expecting? Well, hopefully we should be expecting that Retina display as well, and also there's a possibility of the new Apple TV being released. So I am excited for both of those things right now. Okay, so it seems that we have got quite a lot of Spanish people in our audience, so that is really nice to see you. That's really nice to have you guys here. Any more English people in our audience at the moment? Okay, can everybody hear me loud and clear right now? So it seems that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, has just taken stage, and he's started off with the announcement of "We have had a great morning planned, and I'd like to start talking to you about post-PC revolution." And he says that Apple is at the forefront at this revolution. So hello from Spain. He says that we're talking about the world where the PC is no longer at the centre of the digital age, rather it's just a device, and they're talking about a new world where the device needs to be more portable. So obviously they are talking about things like the iPhone, the iPad, and also the iPod Touch. So that's really, really decent. Can't wait to see. He says that the iPad defined a whole new category, and that is true, you know. It seems that we have got loads of people in the audience right now, so this is luck. For any of you that aren't liking this live commentary, you're more than happy to go offline. We won't miss you, to be honest with you. So they're just at the moment talking about how the iPad reinvented a new portable age and how it filled a gap between the iPhone and also the Mac, how it filled that small gap. And it says they had 76% of Apple's revenue was from post-PC devices. So that's stuff like the iPad and the iPhone and the iPod Touch as well. Okay, it seems like we had a bit of a glitch there, so I do apologise for that. Okay, so he's now listing some examples of stuff that they do really well. So like their retail stores, which cater strongly to buyers of the iPads and iPod Touches and iPhones. And he says that these new devices are new to many, many people. He says Apple has up to 362 retail stores and 110 million visitors in Q4 of 2011. And he's now showing off the Grand Central store, and he says the turnout for the Grand Central store was off the charts. So I'd like to talk about, while we're going through this, what you're expecting from the iPad 3. So if you're there, please put some comments in to see what you are actually expecting from the iPad 3. So we know that guaranteed it is going to get some Retina display, and I think that's a big thing for it as well. But what else are you hoping for to see? There's been rumours today of a tactile feedback as well. So when you touch the display, that you're going to get a small amount of feedback from the device. So it's got to give it a kind of texture. But also that they're talking about there being no home button, and I knew when they release that picture there was a massive thing, will there be a home button or not? So that's one of the big things that we're waiting to see. But also something else, those 8 megapixel cameras in the rear of the device to give true HD as well. So hopefully some of those things that we should see. Personally, for the iPad, I do have an iPad, but I don't use it that much. So hopefully they will release an Apple TV, and that is something that I am waiting for hugely, a new Apple TV. Okay, so this is going to be what Tim Cook's second press conference. Obviously, the iPhone 4S was his first one, so just before Steve Jobs died. So this is now his second one, and there's no Steve to hold the home the helms. So hopefully, very hopefully, he's doing really well, and he seems to be having a good presence. So he's now back on stage, and he says that when the Grand Central store opened, that it was pretty cool, and he's obviously proud as well to be there and to be the CEO of Apple. So he looks really chuffed, to be honest with you. So the iPhone, the iPod and the iPad are all based on iOS, and it says that over 350 million devices were sold through last year, and 62 million in Q4 of 2011, and that is an astonishing amount in one quarter. That's stupidly. So Tim is now talking about Siri. Siri obviously available on the iPhone 4S as your personal assistant, and Siri, he says, is your best friend who gets things done just by asking. So are you guys out there, do you use Siri a lot? Do you not? To be honest, with my iPhone 4S jailbroken, I tend to use Siri a lot more just for a little bit of fun. So we just have to see what he is. It wouldn't surprise me if the iPad 3 does actually get Siri, so that would be a really nice feature as well. So they're getting a bit of a Siri demo for the people there, and he says, we thought it might be fun to let you listen to Siri from other parts of the world. So they're showing Siri with an Australian accent, speaking French and German, and they have just announced Siri will be available in Japanese. So that's really decent as well. So part of iOS 5.1 is available today, and it's rolling out to Japan over the next few weeks as well. So it's really interesting that 5.1 will be available today, and that usually comes about after the press conference. So they're now talking about the App Store, and they're saying that the App Store currently holds 585,000 apps. So that's a massive amount of apps in there. He says there's great apps leads to more downloads, which leads to more great apps, which leads to more downloads. So it's a great circle there. So over 25 billion apps have been downloaded, and the 25 billionth was downloaded in China. Remember, we did a report last week that Apple will be giving away a $10,000 app iTunes card to whoever does that, whoever downloads that one. So, you know. And then he's talking a small bit about iCloud, saying iCloud keeps all your content synced across all of your devices. So there's 100 million iCloud users, okay, and iTunes in the cloud now supports movies. So that's really decent. You know, that's something that a lot of people have been asking for, which is nice that they've now been able to speak to this. So it says you'll be able to re-download movies you've purchased on any device, and movies and TV shows now support 1080p. So 1080p, obviously, at the moment the Apple TV of today can only run 720p movies. So with us obviously offering 1080p, there is definitely going to be a new Apple TV. So it supports 1080p, and it's got a new streamlined user interface, and it's still not a basic iOS interface either. So there's definitely going to be a new Apple TV, and I can pretty much confirm that. So they're now got Eddie Q on stage, and he's about to give us a live demo of the iTunes running iTunes Movies match. So any of you guys out there that will be getting the new Apple TV at all? So at the moment he's flicking through PhotoStream as well, so that's really interesting that they can get PhotoStream on this new movies match. And he says naturally photos are pushed directly to it and pulled straight from either your Mac or your P or anywhere, to be honest with you. So the photos are saying that they look really good, the ones that have been pushed through. So that's a good thing. Also, they're saying that this new iTunes movie match from the iCloud, it will be able to recommend movies based on what you've seen, and a long press of the menu brings you straight back to the home. A short tap brings a pop-up menu. So we seem to have quite a lot of dislikes in the room here. So honestly guys, if you don't want me to carry on with this, I will quit right now. If you do not, if you want me to carry on telling you what's happening, then I am more than willing to do so, you know. But if you don't want to watch, that's up to you. You can leave the room. I have no problem with that. So they're currently playing extremely loud and incredibly close, and they're saying when that started they weren't straight at the start of the film, okay, and it took about 10 seconds to start playing. So Scary Girl 005 is saying that she doesn't want me to carry on live streaming, so there we go. So Tim is back, They're saying that the price is going to be $99 and it's going to be available next week and you can start ordering today, and they say that they would encourage you could do that. So there has been a new Apple TV announced and they think that we're going to love it. Okay, if you want me to carry on going, guys, you're going to need to give us more thumbs up so we get this more promoted to everybody. So then now moving on to talking about iPads. So they say they think the iPad is the poster child of the post-PC world. They're saying at the moment, the momentum behind the iPad has been incredible and it's surprised virtually everyone. They sold 15.4 million iPads last quarter, which is an staggering number to sell anything at all. So that's more iPads than any PC manufacturer sold PCs. HP sold 15.1 million PCs total in the same quarter. So, you know, that is a mental amount of iPads sold. 15.1 million is just stupid amount of devices sold. So they're just quoting PC World, Tony Bradley, saying it's hard to imagine a time without the iPads. And I have to agree with you, to be honest. In my family, my children are always using it, and so is my wife. And it's just so easy to pick up and bring it along. So I want to say thank you to those people that are in this room for supporting doing this live coverage as well. Big thank you. Without you guys, that we wouldn't be able to do this, as I'd be sat here on my own. So a big thank you to everybody there. They say that when we set out to create the iPad, we set out to create not just a new product, but a new category, and they certainly did that. When the iPad was released, the tablet market absolutely blew up. You know, HP entered, BlackBerry entered, everybody suddenly entered the new tablet crazy. And tablets before that were big, clunky things. So what they've got there is absolutely excellent. They really did nail a new category. They said when we asked iPad users who had a notebook, a desktop and a smartphone about their favourite device for email, they all responded that the iPad, because it feels that they did that because the iPad is just so easy to carry around. It's lightweight, it's just easy to access your emails, and that's probably one of the best things about it for the people that have got it. They also said that the same was said for web surfing and e-reading. They said it was just overwhelming, the feedback that they had. Now, I don't normally read books, but I have to say I love reading on the iPad. It just makes it so much easier for me. I can carry it around myself. Their favourite game, they said there was favourite for gaming, said the users, even versus home consoles. So that is a massive hardcore type gamer that loves to play on the iPad. Now he's saying it's remarkable that a device that has been on the market for less than 2 years has entered all these. You've got to remember, people have just said that it was best for playing games on, it was the best for webmail, it was the best for surfing the web. It says there's over 200,000 custom apps especially just for the iPad, and he says these apps are gorgeous looking and groundbreaking, and they help create or learn, and they pretty much do everything that you want them to do. So once again, a big thank you for those that have given me true support from watching and here. It's really nice to see that you guys like us doing these events for you. I'm sorry that obviously we can't be there and bring you pictures, but unfortunately, you know, we live here in the UK and it's just not practical for us to be doing this, you know. But we do try our best. He says that you won't find incredible apps on any other tablet, and in some estimates there were over 100 competitive tablets launched last year, and you won't find the same competitive experience. So because of the iPad, a whole new influence and category of tablets was brought, and that's solely to compete with the iPad. It says we're looking at Twitter on a Samsung tablet, and it's the Galaxy Tab, and it looks kind of blowing up smartphone app running on a tablet. And he says that's exactly what it is. You know, these other ones, they take, especially in the Android type world, they take a version of the iPhone and they just blow it up to fit. They're now looking at Yelp on the same tablet. He says there are lots of white spaces, tiny text, and it's really, really hard to see. They're now looking at the iPad, and it's obviously clearly to be able to distinguish that it is built for the iPad. It's clear canvas, you're able to see everything. And he says this is the key reason why momentum in the iPad continues to build and competitive tablets aren't gaining any traction, because the iPad just has that sole user base that not only does it use apps for the iPhone, but it also has its own applications as well, and that works really well for it. And Apple did generate this new category for the whole thing. So obviously they are announcing a new iPad, and he's just said today we're announcing a new iPad, and he says it's got to be amazing. So let's give you some of the specs. This is what you've all been waiting for, so please give us a thumbs up, because this is the information that all you guys want. So he says that they're redefining the category that Apple created with the original iPad, so we can see something different definitely happening here. You know, they haven't messed about this time in this event. I kind of like Tim Cook's style. They've just jumped in and they've told us. Okay, so they're showing at the moment pictures of the new iPad. So Phil Schiller is up to do a demo. So he says obviously everybody there wants to know about the new iPad. So, and that's why we're here. We're here to talk about the Apple iPad 3 announcement. So it's definitely got a Retina display. They have announced that it's got a Retina display, and he says you can't understand how amazing it is. He says to this day nobody has matched their display technology. So I can't wait to see how well this thing actually does. You know, it's going to be absolutely amazing. He says this presents a problem for us, and it's presenting it to you. For the first time, an iPad has a higher resolution than its entire display behind you. And he says that's a fun challenge, and it's time for a new screen. We're seeing zoomed in images to highlight the quality, and naturally, so what they can see so far looks absolutely amazing. So I cannot wait to see what they actually have bring. Photos are just going to look amazing on a gorgeous high resolution display, and they are showing some of them, and the icons from what I can see here are simply unbelievable. This Retina display, I mean, people are just going to go and buy the iPad 3 purely for this Retina display, and hopefully I can do that for you as well, you know, and produce that on some of our videos for YouTube. So we want to be able to bring you the latest information about that. So they're comparing it to a 1080 display at 1920 by 1080. He says the iPad has over 1 million more pixels than that. He says that they're looking at 264 pixels per inch, and he says that's still not enough to call it a Retina display. I can't wait to be able to get my hands on one of these and see what it actually works like. The picture quality on this is going to be stupid precision. So he says, for the iPhone 4 held at 10 inches you can't distinguish the pixels. The iPad now is expecting to be held at 15 inches away from your eye, so that's going to be able to see what it is. But even closer, it still crosses that Retina display threshold, and 40% better colour saturation than before. So pictures are going to look stupid. They've said, in case you're wondering, there is still going to be a physical home button. So that's that rumour squashed straight away. So far for the iPad 3, we are getting the Retina display. There is going to be a home button, and it's going to be running an A5X processor with quad-core graphics. So that's the next announcement. The iPad 3 is going to be running the A5X processor with quad-core graphics. So this is going to be running some stupid hot graphics, guys. You know, the pictures on this are going to be second to none. And that A5X processor has been designed solely for that Retina display. So hopefully, very hopefully, you know, this is going to be an absolutely gorgeous device. So they're comparing it to a Tegra 3 chip, and he says Apple says the A5 is twice as fast, and the A5X offers 4 times performance. So that is pretty quick. Okay, so they're done talking about the Retina display, and he says that's the first new feature to the iPad. So what else can we see? I assume next they're going to talk about. So he says the next feature is going to be an eyesight camera. Let's see what they have here. So at the moment we know the iPad has both. The iPad 2 has both front-facing and rear-facing camera. There has been reports that neither of those cameras are very good. You know. And I don't believe that the iPad should have a rear-facing camera. Can't see the point of using your device to take pictures, but it is well done for FaceTime. So the 5 megapixel backside illuminated sensor is on the back. It's going to have 5-element lens, an IR filter, and ISP built into the A5X chip. You know, it looks really good. So basically, it's going to have the same setup as the iPhone 4S. So that should be a massive improvement. Photos on the iPhone 4S are absolutely astounding. You know, they're going to be looking really good. He says you're going to get auto exposure, autofocus, and at the moment they're looking at pictures from the beach. Now if you want to see the pictures from this, remember to head over to our site www.mygreatiphone.com, where you're going to be able to see a full report of this. But also, straight after this video, we will be doing a roundup video of exactly what you have been able to see about the Apple iPad 3 event. So we will be telling you what's happened, what features we got in a short video, and that will be posted about an hour after the event finishes. So I'd like to thank you all for staying with me. We're now 37 minutes into the event, so that's really helpful that you guys have stayed with me. And thank you to the 54 people that have looked at this. So the third feature will be 1080p video recording, so nothing massive there. So he says wherever you are, you want to grab video for work, play or school, and then you've got the great camera to be able to do that. And like I said, there's no way that anybody is going to be taking video on this thing. It's just one of those things that I don't believe people will do at all, unfortunately. The device is massive, and if you've got an iPad, you generally have an iPhone 4S as well. So, you know, what is the point? So guys, if you have enjoyed watching this so far, please remember to give us some more thumbs up. That's really helping us spread the news about our commentary. And we love doing these for you, but unfortunately, you know, not a lot of people, unfortunately, are giving us those thumbs up. So please give us the thumbs up if you are watching this, if we're bringing you the content that you want as well. So the fourth new feature in the iPad is this voice dictation. US English, British, Australian, French, German and Japanese. So the fifth feature is 4G LTE. So you people living in the stateside are going to be absolutely fanatical about this. 4G LTE, unfortunately, we do not have here in the UK. 4G has not come through. So that is going to be stupid fast, you know. You're going to have amazing download speeds. This thing isn't even going to need Wi-Fi in it. And I don't think that is going to be in the UK iPad 3, unfortunately, but we will have to wait and see. So the iPad 2 has a 3.1 megabits per second on EVDO, and on HMPS they're getting 7.2 megabits a second. So we'll have to see what is going on with all that. A second, so we'll have to see what is going on with all that. Okay, we're back, and I'm sorry to have dropped you there, but there will be LTE, and the speeds will be stupid for the new iPad 3. So they're talking about what LTE speeds that you're actually going to get, and what carriers they're going to be on. So that's going to be the Verizon's, Rogers, Bell, Telus and AT&T will all be LTE partners. We have other high-speed networks, as mentioned, around the world. And Phil has talked about various bands of LTE, meaning we'll have separate devices for AT&T and Verizon. So you're not going to see that dual chip as you would in the iPhone 4S. There's going to be one for the iPad 3 and one for the Verizon iPad 3 and one for the AT&T iPad 3, unfortunately. Okay, it says, but 3G, it'll be ready for 3G around the world, which is good. So wherever you are, you can pick one up and roam anywhere around the world. The iPad can now be a personal hotspot too if your carrier supports it. You won't be able used to get that on the you won't be able to do that on the iPhone 4S, unfortunately. So they're now going through the new features that the iPad 3 will have. So that's got the Retina display, the new A5X processor, the new camera, the 1080p recording, LTE, and also that Siri dictation. So what they're going to do about battery life, well, we'll have to just wait and see. So you may recall that the iPad 2 claimed to have 10 hours of battery life for you to do most things and 9 hours on 3G. There's still 10 hours of battery life still and 9 hours on 4G. Okay, so there must be some really good batteries in there. So they're talking about the weight. Okay, it's 9.4 millimeters thick and it weighs just 1.4 pounds. So 9 hours on 4G LTE is absolutely stupid. I mean, that is just crazy, to be honest with you. You know, and so they're now talking about the price. So we're talking about $499 for the 16 gigabyte model. So that's $499 for the 16 gigabyte model, and the thing is going to be slightly heavier than it is in than the iPad 2. It's going to be $599 for the 32 gigabyte and $699 for the 64 gigabyte. There's no 128 gigabyte yet. If you want 4G, it's going to set you back to 629, 729, and 829 for the 16, 32, and 64. So the prices are staying exactly the same as the current iPad, and they're going to be available on March the 16th. So that's just over a week away from now. So if you want one as badly as anybody else, you'll be happy to know that pre-orders will start today, and they're going to be available in the US, Canada, here in the UK, France, Germany, Switzerland, and Japan. So everything is going to be launching on the same day, and this is Apple's biggest rollout. So it's really decent to see. So what have we seen so far? We've seen the new Apple TV is going to support 1080p video streaming, and then the new iPad 3, which is going to be the same dimensions. You're going to get that huge Retina display, which looks absolutely awesome. You're going to get part of Siri, the Siri dictation, in there as well. You're going to get great battery life, LTE, 1080p recording. So really decent event, and Tim Cook has done an absolutely great job of delivering all this news to you. So everything's been updated, but as you remember, the iPhone 4 went to the Retina display. Developers didn't have to do anything, and their apps just look better. So existing apps that are the same will still be scaled up, and text will automatically render to the higher resolution. But if the developer wants to take an extra bit of time, they can do things with their apps that will be stupidly mind-blowing. Okay, so it's saying it looks like a few devs got early access, and now they're going to show some demos from Namco. So they're showing off a new flight simulator game called Sky Scramblers. Okay, so the big news today is that there is going to be an iPad 3, which is really, really good. It's going to have that Retina display, it's going to have great battery life, new cameras in it, the new iSight camera, 4G LTE, and Siri dictation in it as well. You're also going to see a new Apple TV. So the new flight simulator from Namco looks absolutely excellent. The graphics are stupidly sharp. Um, you know, and the gameplay looks stupidly fast as well. Okay, guys, so that has been the iPad 3 announcement. At the moment, they are just showing a few things off, and there will not be much more. Really, really great products, and I am big thank you for everybody for watching this. So massive thanks. Um, I'm going to be leaving right now. They're going to show some demos from Namco. So they're showing off a new flight simulator game called Sky Scramblers.